Hey, are you looking to upgrade your gear or EDC game this summer? I got some stuff I think you'll really be into, so hang out for a few minutes and check this stuff out. What's up guys, Eric here with At Home in the Future, and I'm back with another gear and EDC update, and this time I'm going to cover some of my favorite things in 2024 so far. We're going to check out some EDC gear, some gadgets, some travel upgrades, and even clothes and other essentials, so be sure to watch this video all the way to the end. As always, if you see anything in the video that you want to pick up for yourself, I've kind of shopped around online and found the best deals I can for you out there. You'll find those links down in the description. But let's get things going by checking out the latest EDC gear and gadgets. Alright, so some of my favorite stuff I've been testing out and carrying in 2024 so far, and in channel tradition we're going to start with a knife. So this is the Vosteed Thunderbird. If you remember, we checked out another Vosteed knife last month, and they sent this over too, and I found it actually pretty interesting in a few different aspects. First, it uses that same Trek lock system, which is kind of like a button lock. But it goes all the way through the still. So instead of it catching it at the back ridge here, you have a much more secure lockup. That's pretty simple just to sling open and closed. But what makes me actually like this thing so much, this is actually a little bit more of a premium knife for Vosteed. You know, I got kind of a bonkers colorway here just because I wanted something a little bit different. But it has several features I really dig. First off, it kind of matches the silhouette of one of my favorite knives ever. If you've watched my big EDC video, the Benchmade 940 is one of my all-time favorites. I carry it at least a few times a week now. I've got so many different knives in and out of the rotation, but still love this thing. But you can tell just the size, the shape of the scales, and just general profile of this thing is very, very similar. But this Vosteed knife has a ton of different ways to open it. So you've got a flipper here in the back, really solid and secure. You got a front flipper if that's your style. You've got the big thumb hole here, and of course because of that Trek lock system you can just slink it open and closed and everything. But really solid knife, has big nice jimping there over the edges, made of really premium materials. So if you're in the market for like a Benchmade 940, again, awesome classic knife, but pretty expensive these days, typically around $200, even for like the non-fancy versions of these. This Vosteed I think goes for considerably less. I've seen the price kind of fluctuate. It just depends on, of course, the colorway and style you go for this. Again, I think this is maybe the Magpie variant, don't hold me to that. But if you're in the market for a similar style knife, feels really awesome, has a nice clip and everything, I think you'll dig that. And being a Vosteed knife, they send you all sorts of crazy stuff with it. So you get the nice case and everything, you get like a metal case, you get all sorts of stuff along with it. If you're looking for a premium style blade to carry around the summer, definitely check that one out. Pretty good option there. All right, let's move on to a few travel items, and I have some really interesting things to share here. And the first off is this kind of world travel charger. So this thing is from Arsmel, and it may look like some other like travel adapters that you've seen on the market. So you have this kind of cool sliding system, so depending on what type of plug you need, there's a US plug right there, you have that. If you go to other countries, you have this format plug as well, and this one used through a lot of places in Europe, so you don't have to take all these other travel adapters just to use your typical wall sockets there. But it also has nice chargers here in the bottom, so 3 different USB-C ports, which is great, a classic USB-A port. But probably the biggest trick this thing has in its arsenal is not only is it a travel adapter, like pretty much any of these that you can get on Amazon, but it's also a GAN charger with up to 140 watts. So this one thing right here, you can plug your laptop up pretty much to any socket you can find and charge at super, super fast speeds without having to bring like this whole extra thing. So you wouldn't have to bring this adapter plus your big heavy 140 watt adapter to get things going. This does the job of all that stuff. It is a little bit heavy as far as, you know, feeling kind of like a brick and everything. And I think the design, even though they're leaning into this like mecha style thing for this, I don't know, if you're way into sci-fi, you may like that. It's just subtle enough, I guess if you want to call that subtle, where it doesn't really like bother me or anything, but it doesn't necessarily appeal to me either, so I could give or take that side of it. But as far as having like a full GAN adapter with all these different plugs and everything, with the ability to plug in, plus super fast charge that stuff, pretty cool product there. So if you're doing any overseas traveling, considering adding the Arsmel to your kit there. So another charging option, this one is from Charge, and I believe the model name for this is the Chargeek 130, and this thing is bad to the bone. So kind of mimics some of the larger format chargers you may have seen out there. This one is 20,000 milliamp hours. Rated for airplanes and everything, so you can take it on that. It's got kind of this cool translucent design. I think the main one they market with this is more white, but this one's kind of this charcoal black, which I think is pretty cool. You get this nice display built into the top here. I've just got it fully charged, but when you plug stuff in, it'll give you all the stats on the charging status for that. But really cool being able to see the circuitry and everything inside of this. But you know, you can pick up 20,000 milliamp batteries to take with you to charge your laptop and stuff. But the big thing about this is not only is it a huge capacity battery, this thing is actually 140 watts max. So just like having a wall outlet, if you're doing some serious work, maybe doing some video editing or design work or something where you're taking stuff on the plane, wearing your laptop out, you need something to fast charge it, not only can this charge it a few times for like bigger laptops and everything, but it can actually charge it at a speed that's actually usable. So instead of plugging something in and it's spending like 6 hours to bring you back up to speed, because of the 140 watt power of this, I think it can bring you all the way from like 0 up to 50% in maybe 30 minutes or something crazy like that. It is pretty pricey, but if you're in the market for this type of thing, or you do work where your laptop battery is essential, I think you may really dig one of these. Really cool form factor. I mean, just built as solid as a tank and everything, even though it's translucent. Cool product there from Charge. They make a lot of really cool charging things and everything like that. So moving on from charging, let's talk a little bit about taking care of your clothes when you travel. And this may be one of my favorite recent discoveries. So this is a dry bag from Scrubba. And so you may look at it and think, okay, that just looks like your typical dry bag. We'll unfold it so you can take a look at it. It is a pretty large dry bag. I think it's 5 or 10 liters, I don't know. But what makes this thing so special is it's made almost exclusively for doing laundry. So there's kind of a travel hack years ago where people would take a dry bag, throw a little bit of laundry detergent inside of it, and kind of just swish it around and do things that way. But this is an upgraded take on that, because as you can see through this window, not only can you see your clothes here, but there's like these scrubbing nubs built inside of it. So you have a washboard kind of built into this bag there as well. So basically what you do when you travel, I've started taking along these little detergent sheets, super thin. You can just fold them up and throw them in a Ziploc bag. I take along like 2 of those. It doesn't take much at all. And then like their instructions say here, you can see like how many clothes to put in. They've got a chart here on the side. If you throw that stuff in, fill it up to that water level and things. And then like any dry bag, you'll roll this down and clip it up. But there's this little valve here. So you unscrew the valve, let all the air out where it's just the water in there, so you have a lot of room where you can push things around. And then you just spend, you know, maybe like 30 seconds to a few minutes, just depending how gross your clothes are, just kind of scrubbing things against that washboard and everything. When you're done, dump out the soap in the sink, rinse it out once, twice, and fold things up in a line. But it just makes for a super convenient, really surprisingly effective way to do some hotel laundry in a way where it feels like your clothes are actually getting clean. Really dig this thing. Again, having like those little washboard dots down in this really does make a difference as far as like getting some suds going and getting that grit and grime out of your clothes. So one of my favorite travel hacks I found, especially if you're going on a trip where you know your clothes are going to get messed up. Really cool thing, and folds down pretty easy too. So I'm going to go roll this back up and we'll keep moving on. All right, let's talk flashlights here for a minute, and actually have some really interesting options from Olight with some stuff I haven't actually seen before. So this is a new product called the O-Clip, and I really like this thing. So in my mind, this is almost a replacement for like if you go on trips or spend any time outside, you may take a headlamp along with you. They're super useful, you know, slap it on, you have your hands free and everything else. But this is kind of another take on that idea with a few interesting upgrades I think in some ways can make it kind of superior to a headlamp. So first off, obviously you heard it in the name, it's got a little clip design there. So you can clip this onto a backpack, you can clip this onto your shirt, basically give yourself a hand-free light that you don't have to have strapped to your head or messing up your hair or trying to get covered up by a hat or a hood, which I really dig that. If you have a hat turned backwards, you can also slide it on that way and get kind of that headlamp feel. It has a magnet built into it as well, which is kind of Olight's trademark. Most of their stuff has magnets, although we'll talk about one here in a second that does not. And this little thing is rechargeable by USB-C, so it has lots of really good things going for it. But let's talk about the light itself. Pretty simple little light with 2 different modes. Push and you get a low light, press and hold and you get a brighter one. Also has red built in if you double tap. So you get a few different modes there of red, which is pretty nice to have, again, for nighttime stuff or if you need a little alert light. Pretty cool. But even just the white light in this thing is surprisingly bright, up to 300 lumens, which is really great at night and everything. You can even set it down and use it as a reading light too. But all in all, this is just a great little option. Really affordable, super capable. And to me, I actually like the size of this, throwing it in the backpack and keeping it in my travel kit. It's definitely smaller than a headlamp, and I think actually a lot more versatile. So I'm really happy with that little option, especially being USB-C rechargeable. Can't beat that. Speaking of USB-C rechargeable, you know, we talk a lot about different EDC size lights on this channel. Normally they're smaller pocket stuff, meant for everyday like quick things. You're exploring a closet, you need to look at something quick outside when you drop something below your car, that sort of thing. But rarely have we covered stuff that's actually meant to be like a big sturdy flashlight, kind of the replacement if you ever used to have like a mag light or something back in the days when it seems like mag lights were like the flashlight to go to. I feel like this is like a modern upgrade and reinvention of that idea. So this is the Olight Seeker 4, and man, I think this light here has a lot going for it. Just feels really confident in the hand, has a super long throw there. You can see the reflector on it, but it can throw a spotlight style beam for hundreds and hundreds of meters, which is typically a lot different from the tiny EDC lights that you may keep in your pocket. Those typically kind of throw a flood beam or a little spotlight that can maybe go 15 or 20 meters just because of the size of the reflector. But this thing is so long and deep, it's almost like a floodlight that has like a red hot light there in the center, which I really, really appreciate. Super easy to cycle through modes. You got the little side switch here, which you can just press and hold to get different levels. You can see how bright that beam is. We're sitting here by super bright lights. This thing goes up to 3,000 lumens, which is crazy. And you also strobe warning here. If you triple tap, you'll get strobe mode, which is great for self-defense and everything. It's got a little bit of knurling here in the edge, not quite that tactical edge that people want to use their lights as like a weapon. But the thing I might like the most, you lose the magnetism that a lot of Olights have, which I don't really use on a light this size. If I'm going to use the magnet size stuff, it's typically the EDC style things. But check this out. You've got a totally waterproof light where if you slide this over, you have USB-C charging. So no weird magnetic charger like you get with a lot of lights like this these days. But a super easy way to charge this that's built in using a common charger that everybody has. If you're looking for a super sturdy, like rough and tumble use, like you're going out in the woods, you really want to see what's far away, you're sitting out in the lake and want to see what's on the shore, pretty awesome light there. I've had a ton of fun messing around with this thing so far in the summer. So really cool option to check out if you're looking for a big sturdy light. Okay, moving right along, let's talk about some gadget accessories. And Moft has had some really cool things kind of coming out of their labs lately. So we'll get to these two here in a second because these go for your phone. But if you think of your laptop, you may really dig this Moft laptop bag. So at first it looks like just kind of a thin fake leather-esque laptop sleeve. You got a little flap here. It fits up to like a 16-inch MacBook Pro, which is what I have. But what makes this thing so special is you can actually use this as a sleeve, but also fold this up and under like that, and you have a built-in stand for your laptop where you can pop it down on here. So that's the high angle of that. You can also pop these out, pop this little part up here and convert it where you also kind of have a low angle view. So if you're sitting in a coffee shop a lot, you like that elevated style stand for your laptop. An interesting option there, just to have a sleeve that really doesn't take up any additional space with your laptop in your bag, but gives you a few extra versatile options. And in the same sense, they make these really nice products here for the phone. So if you have an iPhone, which I do, my whole family does, MagSafe accessories are one of our favorite things. It's just built into all the modern phones and makes it really convenient just to slap stuff on the back. So you have a traditional kind of MagSafe style wallet where you can put a few thin cards in here, maybe a little bit of cash. But this is like a double-use little MagSafe backed stand where you have a spot where you can fold in your fingers and use it a little bit like maybe a pop socket where you can have your phone confidently in your hand like that. But my favorite thing is you can just fold this thing down and magnetically you get a little stand. And so you can sit this on a tray table. You can put your phone horizontally or up and down. Just a nice way to like sit it down while you're eating some lunch and watching something. And you can even lay it on its side if you want. But really simple, very thin. So you got like kind of a triple use thing. You've got a wallet, you got kind of a little hand holster, and then you've got a stand built all together. Now, if you're looking for a more serious tripod that can take more abuse maybe, this option, same kind of thing. It's also MagSafe. It doesn't have a card holder or anything, but it has a ton of different options. Look how thin this is. Very, very light. Very, very sturdy ridges there. So you can fold this up, use it as a stand, do things horizontally, do whatever you want with that. But even cooler, it's got a secondary part here that folds out where you can have an additional support. So you can sit this down. My wife used this on the tray table on the plane on our last trip there, and you get kind of this extra height stand there where you can get stuff up and out of the way and at all sorts of different angles and everything. And I think they kind of advertise you can also use this as like a little bit of a standing tripod if you're shooting like selfie video or that sort of stuff. They sell all this in a creator kit, which is really cool. But most of the time I just use this as a stand, but really like the creativity and versatility of this. As small as it is, you can slide it in your bag. You can keep it in your pocket or just keep it on the back of your phone if you want. That's probably one of the most innovative stands I've seen for phones out there. So if you're in the market for that sort of thing, I think you'll really dig that thing. Fairly affordable too. All right, last but not least, as far as everyday stuff goes, I've got some sunglasses and a few brands I haven't run into before until this spring. And man, I'm really, really liking these quite a bit. So first up here is a brand called Valin, and this is their Howlin sunglasses, and I love these things. They were my go-to. My family went to Disneyland a few weeks ago. Kind of have that classic 80s retro feel to them, but fit extremely well, unbelievably light. polarized lenses and everything, but they are up to the premium side of things, but not quite as expensive as the most well-known premium brands. And better still, they're not one of those brands that I feel like everybody has. So they fit well, they look great. I really like this extra feature that they come with. Built in back here to the ear hinge, you have this little place where you can slot in the strap that it comes with. So if you're the type of person, you're on a boat a lot or doing something where you want your sunglasses to stay on and not fall off, you have this little notch where you can just click this in on both sides and get this kind of dad strap built in that holds your sunglasses on, looks pretty low profile and everything. It's really adjustable. It just makes for a really confident fit that I feel like looks pretty cool and looks classy and everything. So that's an option worth checking out, especially if you're the type of person that doesn't lose your sunglasses and wants more of a premium style pair. If you are a type of person who frequently may lose your glasses or just doesn't have a ton of budget they want to throw into them, I've come across this brand, WMP, and man, I really dug their frames. So these are the two of the men's options I've been wearing the most. I think this is the Emerson and maybe the Hunter. I don't know. I'll have to put them on the screen here. But a well-made pair of glasses, comes in a ton of different styles and everything. Also polarized, which is nice. I think this particular pair is like moon rocks, so they've got some cool accents. They got like a Mars edition, different color lenses, and all that sort of stuff that you'd expect. But at a price point where if you accidentally lose them or crush them after a year, you don't feel sick to your stomach. These go for about 39 bucks online. And really high quality, fit really well, made of some nice materials and everything, and don't break the bank. So I'm a fan of those. This is one of their different options here, and kind of like a tortoise frame and everything. And when you buy these, I'll show you my wife's. They don't come with the traditional big cases, but they come with a nice little microfiber sleeve there. So you can see they got some pretty awesome women's designs and everything too. But again, pretty much everything on their site I think is about 40 bucks. So hard to beat. When you're looking at like the Gooders and the other like budget brand glasses that are out there and popular right now, I feel like WMP, their styles and everything are a lot cooler and they have a lot more variety than those. So definitely check this brand out if you're into looking for some inexpensive sunglasses that can get you through the summer. I think you'll be really happy with those. All right, moving along, let's talk about some clothes and other essentials. And if you're watching this around the same time that I filmed it, it's June here in Tennessee and it's hot outside. That means just about the only thing I'm thinking about is some shirts and shorts and that sort of stuff. So I've got some really cool options for you today. Now, if you're looking for just like an all-arounder shirt, one of my favorite things to wear, like you're seeing here, is just a simple pocket tee. And the best version of that I found are these shirts from Flint & Tinder. They're just kind of a slub cotton pocket tee. I really dig these, just the right weight, just kind of this vintage slub kind of cotton material. But just a really great shirt, especially for the summer. Again, it's not too plain. You got the pocket on it. Comes in like bajillion different colors, but I feel like it goes with just about everything. And if you're looking for like just your standard basic wardrobe tee, I know there's a bunch of sites and stuff that advertise out there on Instagram trying to get you to pick up like multi-packs of theirs. They're all terrible. The ones you pick up at like a Target or Kohl's or something like that are pretty bad too. These aren't very expensive at all. They're actually American made. They fit really great. They feel great. Definitely worth checking these out. And I do have one other favorite right now, and that is these X-Cotton tees from Western Rise. Really dig this thing. Again, comes in just about every color imaginable, which may or may not be true of any shirt that you shop for. But these are great, especially for summer travel. If you don't want to spring for like full-on merino stuff, which you should if you travel quite a bit, but these shirts are just about perfect. Just maybe a little bit thicker than that slub material that I just talked about, but these X-Cotton shirts have a little bit of extra tech built into them that's odor resisting. They resist wrinkles really well. If you're doing any sort of clothesline laundry at the hotel, these do a really good job drying without wrinkles and stuff. But just the right amount of stretch. They fit great. They feel pretty great. Again, these are awesome for travel. In fact, I think they're kind of built for it. But even as just like a daily driver, because of that odor resistance, if you're outside in the summer where you're, I don't know, sitting outside eating lunch or going to a convention or something where you're getting a little bit of that back sweat built up, these tend not to hold that funk and do a great job for just being a straightforward cotton tee. So can't recommend those enough. Let's switch gears just a little bit and talk shorts. And I've got three options right now that have kind of been my go-to over the last month or so. The first of these from Proof, we have their Equator shorts. Now this is nice because they come in three different lengths. So you can go shorty short if you really want. You can go like the medium length, which is 7 inches, which is kind of what I go for all my shorts, which isn't super short or anything. Or you can go typical dad length if that's your thing. But these kind of look to me like your typical khaki shorts, but they have a few extra upgrades built in. We got a zipper pocket here in the back. We've got this drawstring, which doesn't actually stick out when you wear them, I guess, unless you want to, but you can kind of stuff that inside. Really nice deep pockets with a little bit of mesh lining. There's a little hidden pocket here with this tiny little zipper. That may be the only thing I don't like. I don't like those itty bitty little zipper things, but you do have the option there of if you're doing something crazy, kind of keeping your keys or a little knife or multi-tool in those. But what's really nice is the material. These are super breathable. You know that khaki stuff sometimes just gets kind of hot wearing that around. These have a lot of stretch to them, and if you get them wet at all, they're pretty great. Wore these to Disneyland a few weeks ago when we were on the big raft ride where you just get soaked. But even though it was really wet with these, they dried off really, really fast. So again, tons of colors, equator shorts, really cool. In a similar way, I've also enjoyed Proof's Rover EDC shorts, and I probably dig these just a little bit more because they match my lifestyle quite a bit, which is, I'm not a cargo pocket guy, but I want like the cargo pocket capacity to be able to carry all this stuff. If you've watched this channel for any sort of time, you know I'm carrying knives and gear and all the little EDC gadgets and flashlights and stuff you want to have with you. They just have that tiny little pocket here. They've got your normal pockets here in the back, but they also have a pretty awesome little hidden pocket here on the side, which is just about perfect for a pocket knife. That way it's not digging into your sides, your hands, where you're trying to put your hands in your pockets or something like that. But it also has a fifth pocket, which is a pretty deep fifth pocket. Again, perfect for a small multi-tool or something if you like carrying that stuff with you. But again, very light, pretty stretchy, comes in those 3 different sizes: super short, regular short, and dad length as I'm calling it. Lots of colors and everything, but these are super comfortable. And I think the biggest thing with both of these options is they actually fit really well. Again, if you go to your typical department store type of things that if you're a dad like me, you may be used to picking your stuff at, I'm telling you, these things will fit so much better. They may cost a little bit more, but they're worth it. You'll wear them for years, and you may even get a compliment for your wife, so that's worth the price of admission alone. Finally, if you're doing anything active at all, or you're going swimming or that sort of thing, these Wellen swim trunks are actually pretty awesome. I know swim trunk is not what you typically think of when you think active, but it's a really pretty thin, light swim trunk material. Comes in a gajillion different styles. There's this kind of look, which is a little bit more out there. You can just go with like a straight up black, which feels more like a typical like swim trunk or workout short, I guess. But really nice drawstring. You got your pocket here in the back and everything. But the real thing that makes these awesome is they have this built-in lining that reminds me of a lot of modern workout shorts. So when you think of swim trunks with lining, you think of that mesh that just burns up your legs and feels gross. These are awesome. They even got a little pocket built inside, so if you're running around in these and need to tuck your phone in here so it won't fly out of the pocket, they're pretty great. But definitely, as far as swim trunks go, you may remember me mentioning a pair of these in my ultimate beach gear video last summer. If you haven't watched that, go check it out, especially if you're going to the beach this summer. But just about the best swim trunks that I've ever run across. But even if you're doing, like I said, workout stuff or active stuff, these kind of pull double duty. So if you're going to the gym, you want to wear something you work out in and get hot in, they breathe a little bit, these are great, and they have a pool there or something like a sauna that you want to go to. Pretty awesome choice. So definitely worth picking up a pair of the Wellens. Okay, we'll wrap this thing up by talking about some shoes, and I have some really cool options to show you today. The first are these On Cloud Surfers. Now, again, if you watch the channel for a while, you know I'm a fan of Ons. They're kind of my go-to daily driver. I particularly love the On Cloud Vista shoes. Still an awesome option. I wear them almost every week, but these, the Cloud Surfers, may take the throne as being the most comfortable pair of Ons I believe that I own. So a relatively new style for them. If you notice, the holes that typically go horizontally kind of go in different directions and everything. But what makes these so special is they are unbelievably cushy. So it's the summer, you're probably having a lot of adventures, whether it's, you know, going on vacation, walking around the city, going to theme parks, doing all that sort of stuff, or actually trail running like these things are built for. But what makes these so great, they're very breathable, very, very squishy. If you're standing on concrete all day, you're walking on pavement constantly, you know your feet get worn out. But these things, man, just the amount of impact they absorb are super, super awesome. Just really digging these and everything. They got a few different models of the Cloud Surfer. This is the Trail Edition. There's a few. You can get like a slightly bigger sole on it or a slightly thinner sole in a few different styles. But can't recommend these enough. I really, really dig them. And check these out. So I stumbled across a new brand a few months ago. These are Norda's. At least it's a new to me brand. And if you're into over-engineered stuff, which is the EDC guy I am, but man, you'll be head over heels for these things. These are maybe one of the most over-engineered trail runners that I've come across. Now, again, I'm not using these as a trail runner, although definitely could, but have a deep appreciation for everything this shoe stands for. So Vibram soles that are super, super grippy, but also the full Vibram base, which I feel like I haven't come across before, and I didn't even know it actually existed. Very, very padded, very, very nice to your feet, have a nice wide fit. But probably the biggest flex is these things have a full Dyneema upper, which is a material that's like supposed to be stronger than steel. I don't know why you need that, but it can just totally resist abrasions and everything. And if you look inside a little bit, these are extremely breathable. So you have an extremely capable shoe that's super, super comfortable all day, very breathable, comes in a bunch of different styles. I chose this one. Again, these are kind of like my city explorers. If I'm going to be out on pavement quite a bit and everything, I want something that can handle just about anything. But I was shocked by how quickly these kind of rose up the ranks along with the Cloud Surfers as being just about my daily driver, and just really, really appreciate these. So a little bit of a splurge purchase purchase, but something I think you'll really enjoy. So check these out, the Nord 001s, well worth your time. Last but not least, flip-flops. And if you're like me, over the years, you probably mostly stuck to like the $5 pair you can get at Walmart and then hated yourself for it. They fall apart constantly. You feel terrible, you have no support or anything like that. That's where these premium flip-flops from Harimari come in. I've just really been enjoying these. Again, same kind of story, maybe just nicer materials. It looks like a normal flip-flop, but it has tons and tons of reinforced kind of memory foam style padding within them, especially up here just in the band that goes over your foot. You got a nice memory foam cushion, all that stuff. Good tread on the bottom, which you know in flip-flops, they're kind of widow makers. Have you ever stepped on them in like the garage floor in the summer when it's wet and just almost totally wiped out? These don't do that. But another superpower these things have is they actually float. So if you're going to be by a pool, if you're going to be at the lake, or any of those situations where you're always afraid about your flip-flops taking a dive off and they're gone forever, being able to retrieve them pretty easily because they float is really a nice little upgrade. But again, if you're going to be wearing flip-flops a lot, like all day, just having that level of support where your feet are actually supported and comfortable, almost tennis shoe-like, it's kind of a game changer for the flip-flop experience. So maybe it's time to treat yourself this summer. So that's some of my favorite gear for the first half of 2024, and I hope that you found some stuff that you really like too. Again, if you want to pick up any of this stuff for yourself, be sure to check out the links down in the description. I did shop around, try to find some good deals for you guys. So hopefully you can save yourself a little bit of money there. That's it for this one. As always, if you dug the video, be sure to hit the like button because it helps the channel out a ton, and subscribe if you want to see more EDC and gear updates in the future. I'll see you next time.